G'day campers, Justin the Wayward Aussie. I'm checking out our Instagram channel and the video we did from Expo Mountain West on the Armadillo H so far has had 46,000 views. So thanks very much to all those folks that have watched the video, but it also tells us that you guys really like the features that we're putting into this new tent. I think we've knocked it out of the park. So we're gonna do a YouTube and we're gonna go a little bit further on what makes this real different and how we got to where we did and why it's very different. So let's get into it with, firstly, the shell design, because it's the design of the shell that makes this tent truly unique. This is actually a hand fabricated. It's not assembled with Celastic, it's not assembled with some sort of glue. This has actually been hand cut, hand rounded, welded, ground, and then powder coated. And that's what gives us these awesome, nice round corners, both front and back. We've consciously thought about the little bit of an angle that we want to get, that you could point to the front or the back of the vehicle. It just depends on what look you're going for. We've already attached a rack on the top. This is going to hold 50 pounds, give or take a little bit. It's going to a great place to put max tracks, a great place to put recovery boards, solar panels, already keywayed, already bolted on there, ready to go. It has a great seal around the bottom, which makes sure there's no water going to come into the tent as you're driving down the road. It has 4 really positive latches, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. And the other thing you're going to notice, it's got a handle on both the front and the back, even though this is the side that opens first. So we're going to open the tent now and have a look at what's inside, but that covers off really what makes it truly unique: hand fabricated shell. Okay, so firstly what we're going to do is we're going to undo the latches. And again, there's 4 of those. It's gas strut assisted inside, so it's fairly simple in the way the first part operates. That's a tie down strap. We're not going to need this again to the end, so we're going to throw that over the top. First thing you're going to notice is a elastic strap and a little tensioner. We want to pop that down, get it out of the way, and we want to make sure that we get it out of the way of this track in the middle, because if we get it there, the tent won't open all the way, and you'll see the lid, the bottom actually sits a little bit up on one side. We're going to reach inside, we're going to grab the ladder. Now in this case, we're going to pull it all the way out. And the nice part about this tent is the self-deploying cover at the front. So the ladder cover, as you pull that ladder, does its own thing in one movement. For this demonstration, we're going to get the ladder out of the way. That allows us to have a look at our lever lock on the front. So there's no spring rods on the front of this tent to put it together. So there's literally an effortless setup to make this thing work. Inside there, we're going to go in, we're going to grab the spring rods, which are going to allow us to put the 2 windows out on the left and the right. We've got those huge arch D-shaped windows on each side. On one side, we have the heater port, air conditioner port. So we really thought about where the market's gone over the last few years especially, and people like Zero Breeze have made air conditioners for us to use in our tent. Summertime, it's awesome. The head on the air conditioner are 4 inches. Most of the rooftop tents that we've seen come through, including some of our own, have a 3-inch port for a diesel heater. So we made sure when we built this one, it actually fits the air conditioner port. So if you're looking for something that's going to work in the summer, this is a good choice. Up the top, you see a clear window. Underneath, it still has that legendary LST fabric that we've had now forever. So you can unzip that and see through the roof, but you don't have to get out and remove the fly to see the stars if you just want a star view. Inside is a self-inflating mat. Inside is a power port in the far back corner of the tent. There's a power port, and underneath there is an Anderson plug for you to go through and connect to the vehicle if that's the way you want to do it. Or there's some pockets inside there for you to put batteries and little power packs that you can pick up for cheap, because that's going to run the LED lights that already comes pre-installed inside the tent. So that's a little bit more about the Horizon series tents. The one we have behind us is the Horizon 3. We do 2 sizes, a 2 and a 3. A 3 is going to sleep, as it says, 3 people fairly comfortably. It's about the size of a California king-size bed inside. The 2 is about the size of a full-size or a twin bed. So that gives you a bit of an idea, but check out more online on 230.com, and that's going to give you more information on the actual physical size of the bed and the sleeping area. The mattress won't change, but obviously the width and the length may change just a little bit. So selecting the right tent for the family size, online is going to be the best place to find that. So the air conditioner port that we were talking about is right here hidden underneath this Velcro flap. And as you can see, this thing's massive. So I was going to fit that air conditioner port right in. It does have a toggle, so you can actually just pull that nice and tight and lock in around the air conditioner and or the heater port, depending on what you're going to use. So let's grab some stuff inside, and we're going to show you what actually comes with the tent. So when you buy your tent, all of the fitment kit is actually inside, and it's in this little baggie. So that contains all your nuts and your bolts, your instructions, and all those things are in that bag. We don't need that right now. Inside is a heavy weather pole, and we're going to get to what this one does in just a minute, because it actually just puts a little bit more tension on the roof in the case of really nasty weather. And it's 2 things. So it has a lever lock pole that pushes that way, and then this little guy pops on and it pops against the roof to give it more of a V shape. So if it's really, really raining hard, this is actually just going to help the runoff, so you're not getting any water popped up through that roof section. So I'll show you how to use this in just a minute. And the other part, and the important part for us right now, is the spring rod poles. Here's another one of the details we thought about that just makes it easy to use the tent overall. You only have 4 spring rods. When we put the spring rods in, normally you've got a spring rod at the front and at the back to get this big window to do its thing. With this tent, we really considered how that was going to work. And you notice they're very, very close together. So putting the spring rod poles in, it's not a difficult task because they're right there next to one another. And that puts all that tension, so that gives you that covered window area. So if you've got a little bit of inclement weather or you're not sure what the weather's going to do, you can open up the inner door and have the screen closed, or you can open it all up and have that free flow ventilation. So for you folks that are going to low mount the tent, we have put a nice design feature to it, and that is that you can roll the window flat against itself, because if you've got the cab of your truck nice and close here because you've low mounted the tent and it fits just nice on the bed, this window is not going to be able to open with the spring rods. So that means that they're going to be out of the way because you've got nowhere to put them, and you've got this flap. Now here's a little pro tip for you folks. If you roll this underneath itself, what you'll end up with is the window tucked away, but any moisture or dirt or dust or anything that you've got is actually going to stay on the outside of the roll there. So that means when you unroll it, you're not going to get all that moisture, dirt and dust that flops back inside the tent, because it's just going to roll away off that anyway. So again, if the weather's bad, this is a great way to do it. And there's a little pro tip for you. So of course, now we've got the big D window. You can see those. Screen on the outside, LST coated fabric on the inside. Some of the small details that we carried on from a lot of the stuff we like to think about, those small details that we talk about, the made better principles. We attached all our little D loops and all these little parts that are, overall, the D loop is not super important. That exists just to roll that window, the screen up. You can tuck it into itself. Doesn't do a big job, but if we tear that off, it's a big repair. So we put a bar tack. We've used these before in the past, which is that reinforced stitch over the top, which means that that is super, super strong, even though that's on a seam joint. And on the inside, it means that we can tape seam over the top of all of those, so you're not going to get any water ingress, because again, that you'll see that when you get the tent at home, this is on the outside. It's not put into the seam itself, it's on the outside. So welcome inside the tent. First thing you're going to see when you climb inside is the self-inflating mattress. This really is a game changer. You can change the pressure of the air inside the mattress by the 2 valves in the back corners, and that will change the firmness of the mattress. If you like a really firm mattress, add some air pressure. If you like a little bit softer, take some out. So that's very much a personal choice. If you go to pack up the tent, just remove the 2 valves, and that will help the tent to close much more compactly because all the air will just be automatically squashed out of the mattress. In the far corner, we have our power port. Again, on the bottom side is the Anderson plug that you need to attach to a battery if you want to use that. In that is a USB port and a 12-volt cord. On the back wall, you'll notice the light. We haven't turned it on. It's very effective, the light, and that's mounted already to the roof on the back. The nice part about this tent, I might add, is it doesn't matter whether you sleep with your head at that end or at that end, because you'll find there's enough room for you to sit up at either end. So it doesn't matter. Once upon a time, that was generally the head end, but in this tent, again, it's entirely personal choice. So at the back here, you can see we've got the screen window, which allows that cross-flow ventilation. So again, in the warmer months, this is a fantastic tent to keep the air flowing through the whole tent. You've got massive big D windows. The front door has a weighted door on the bottom, so if the weather turns nasty, it's not going to flap about and dance about. Something that we often get asked is how big the mattress is, and thankfully you guys playing at home, I brought a tape measure. So the answer to your question is, if I measure from side to side, that is 70 inches from side to side, so just under 6 foot wide. And then if I measure from the front of the tent to the back of the tent, we are 82 inches, or just shy. You know what? I could call it 7 feet if you went to the fabric. So 7 feet by 6 feet is the sleeping area. That's a huge space and more than comfortable for 2 adults and a child, or potentially 3 adults. That's up to you. Everybody's different in the way they like to sleep in the tent. If you just like extra space, this thing feels pretty big inside. So now we're going to pop our pole in, and this is going to be a little bit tricky for me to do, but you'll get the general idea on what this looks like. At the front, we're going to attach it to the hoop that goes across. Up in the middle, there is a little slot for it to attach into. We're going to lever lock that in. And there we go. But that's the heavy weather pole, and where it's most effective, again, if the weather's really raining hard or potentially snowing, because we are a 4-season tent, that's just going to help the snow to fall off, hopefully, and not build up too much weight onto that roof area. On this side, we have a gear pocket. On the other side, we've got a gear pocket. We have somewhere to put power on the front corner, in the rear corner, and then again on that corner. So there's pockets for bits and pieces all over the tent. You will notice there's a light, and there's this giant, great big pocket that's attached to the roof. It's there so you can pop your iPad, so you can watch TV. You can put your car keys, your phone, your wallet, all those bits and pieces that you want to have quick access to. All you need to do is sit up, and they're right there. So the fabric on this tent is our legendary ECO13B fabric. ECO13B is actually recycled PET bottles, Coke bottles, Pepsi bottles. It's actually chopped up in little pieces. It's made into a fabric which gives us a naturally water resistant, naturally abrasive resistant, naturally mold resistant fabric that does some good stuff for the environment. We then coat the inside with our LST fabric, so if you shut the windows, you can control the light and you choose when you're going to wake up. Okay, so like all of the tents that we build, we've used the made better principle. Let's roll through all the things that make this tent made better. Let's begin with the shell. Handcrafted aluminum shell, integrated rack on the top for recovery boards or solar panels or something up to about 50 pounds or so. Legendary ECO13B fabric with the LST coat on the inside so you can control when the light comes in the morning. Super fine insect mesh to make sure those little bugs don't come to bed with you. self-deploying weather cover on the front to make sure that ladder is not getting wet and you're getting wet butt when you're climbing in and out. Inside we have our self-inflating mat so you can change the pressure. We have a pocket on the roof and a bunch of extra pockets for an iPad, keys, wallets, all those things that you want to take inside with a tent with you. In the far corner, there is a USB 12-volt plug port ready to go with an Anderson plug underneath to connect it to your battery. The ability to sit up from either end. The details on the tent sleeping size, you'll find those online because it is a little bit different between a H2 and a H3. PVC window at the top. Extra heavy weather pole that you can poke up that actually gives that better shape if it really starts to rain hard. Gear pockets on the front, so you've got somewhere to put gear on one side or boots on the other. Internal light that's already built in and ready USB powered, so you just bring your own battery pack or you plug it in that USB port that you've powered from the outside. And that's the list of features that really do make the Horizon series made better.